Hey.
Hey. All right, man. I'm trying to get going. I'm trying to figure it out. All right. There we go. All right. Purple Shed Podcast. Which one is this?
This is number 4 for 2021.
4 for 2021.
Yeah.
Today's January. This will, if I'd say the date, then I'll have to do it faster because when people hear, if I don't,
Well, then say the date. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. January 24th, 2021. You're like, shut up and
2021.
fucking say it, man.
Say it.
What's up, dude? How you feeling tonight?
I feel okay, man. How are you?
I'm good.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
How you been? How you going? Are you mentally? How are you? And physically, how are you? How are you this week?
Well, it was. I'll be honest with you, man. It's kind of a tough week.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff went down this week. Some realizations. I had a buddy die from high school.
Oh yeah. You told me that the other day.
Yeah,
I wanted to tell you in person. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean, it's something.
Were y'all close or?
Well, I mean, not really. He and I were friends in high school, and even after high school, we hung out.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. In fact, I actually lived in Baton Rouge for 2 years. This is like probably 15 years ago, and he had a condo that I rented.
Oh, okay.
And he was just a really happy guy, always smiling, always laughing. I've spent some time with him. So I had some moments with him where we hung out, and
Right.
it's been a long time since I've seen him. Probably over 10 years.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But
What? I mean, is it cool if I ask what happened?
he had a heart attack.
Okay, heart attack. Did you say that? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Man, that's how old? He's your age? I
He's
mean,
a little, probably maybe 2 years older than me.
Did he have anything like something bring it about? I mean, horrible diet. I mean, nothing.
It's possible.
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean,
Smoked or-
it's something that when it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's
You
true.
know.
Yeah.
So that's the Lord calling you home, and that's how I look at it. You're never going to know the day.
Yeah.
So you have to live every moment like it's your last. It's like when I tuck Aspen into sleep at night, we say nighttime prayers.
Yeah.
And I always try to tell her something that I want her to know, that maybe if I don't see her tomorrow, she'll carry that with her for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Something have a good last.
Because you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I could die in my sleep.
Yeah.
And I want her to always feel like I'm imparting something to her.
Yeah.
And giving her a piece of me. And when I'm gone, those last moments for everybody in your life, they're so important.
Yeah.
Because that's why they say you should never leave angry. You should never part ways and not do the cordial thing where you say, hey, goodbye, and there's a loved one, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
Do those small things, because you just never know when it's your time. And it's a ride. We all on it. It ends the same way for all of us. It doesn't end the exact same way. Like, there's a lot of different variations to the end, but it ends nonetheless.
Ultimately,
it ends.
It ends.
So make every moment count.
Man, while you were talking, it was just making my brain race, because we starting off deep. It's a little late tonight too, y'all. It's like a little later than we normally get together, but I mean, it's like 8. We normally get together in like midday or early, but you were so it's a different mood tonight too. Like, it's a little, it gets weekends almost over with. We spend it with our loved ones, hopefully, and all that. And it was making my brain race through just memories that I have with my children and my girlfriend's daughter, who's young. Just tucking them in, telling them stories, playing with them, and all that. You know what I mean? Just that kind of shit. Just with my brain was just firing all that kind of stuff off. When you said something about talking to Aspen tonight, just reading them stories and stuff like that when they're young, and trying to just let them know how much you love them, even though you really can't. I mean, it's almost impossible.
Sure.
To really make them feel that until they're older one day and they kind of look back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just making me. It's almost kind of make me a little emotional, man.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I've had a couple of moments this week like
Yeah.
that. You know,
Is there something triggering it, or is it just
I had one bad day this week. I'm trying to think of what. Maybe it was it Tuesday or Thursday? When I found out, I think it was Thursday. When I found out,
so it's your friend, yeah. I'm
when
sorry.
when I found out that he passed away,
Yeah.
you know, we weren't, like I said, we weren't, you know, real close or anything, but we were friends.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that if I saw him in a crowd, I'd give him a big hug. Hey, how's it going? How
Right,
you
right.
been? How the kids?
Right.
And he would smile real big, and just a really big hearted guy. Influenced a lot of people's lives. He was a character. Everybody that knows Kyle knows Kyle.
Yeah.
So I think just his death affected me a little more than I thought it would.
Yeah.
And it took maybe a day or two for it to settle in.
Yeah.
And it was a culmination of different things. You know, we've talked about the vaccine
Yeah.
in here on the podcast, and my dad received the second dose of the vaccine. So
How's he doing?
I mean, I've texted him a couple times. He hasn't responded, but my levels just went out.
Oh, really? Oh, it's that. Yeah, that fucking.
That's okay. That's okay.
If you
man.
pick it up and
I'm
kind of
gonna-
like
yeah, I'm
hang
gonna
on
pick
to
up.
it, I need to switch the cable.
It's all
out.
good. It's all good, man.
Did you get it?
No worries. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, cool.
So
I need to get a new one.
so my dad, you know, took the second vaccine, and I don't feel like he necessarily needed to take the vaccine. In my conversation with him, when I try to talk to him about it, we've said this before. A lot of people, especially the older generation, they've listened to the television their entire life.
Yeah.
So everything that they say on TV is the gospel to them. And it's not going to be any different. You're not going to tell them any different. You're not going to present them with any alternative viewpoints or any data that contradicts what the television tells them. And it's sad. It's really sad to see people so conditioned to a device that's been implanted in their life since the beginning, and has supplanted all forms of logic or reasoning outside resources. You're not going to tell them anything different.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Yeah.
But that talking head on that television that they talk to every single day, it's like they develop a relationship with them. It's kind of almost like our generation is with podcasts. When you listen to a particular person over time, you almost feel like you develop this relationship with them. Like you kind of know their quirks. You know their.
Sure.
You think you do.
You think you know.
You think
them.
you do. But
You know,
even in here, like some of the stuff that we do in here, some of it's production. Like some of it, you know, we're in here. We're just talking.
Yeah.
We're talking outside of our wheelhouse sometimes. You know.
I don't know shit about shit.
We don't have a script, you know.
Yeah.
But
I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Oh, you just off the cuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, we don't." He was talking about writing something down. I was like,
you ain't gotta do that.
I mean, you can. Like I have in my phone when I'm, throughout my day, I'll write down, oh, that's I'll read an article, maybe think of something, I'll put it in my phone. I want to mention that. I pulled it out right before we turned everything on. You saw me do it. Yeah, I kind of glanced at it, and I was like, whatever. I'll get to some of that stuff if I do. It usually. I was actually telling Misha the other day, like it's this. Just doing this makes you really, really think hard. But what you were saying is sometimes you could see how easy it would be to do some make believe in here. I mean,
for sure.
Oh my God! And then now think if you have millions of people listening to you, and how easy it would be to influence, particular things. I think what's great about social media and having millions of different things to listen to and podcasts, and you can kind of weed out hopefully what you think is fake. And I think that's why some of the old media stuff is obviously dying, because it's obviously production.
It's theatrics.
There's so much production. It's theater. It's theater. But it's mesmerizing.
And it's brought to you by corporate sponsors.
Yes.
So it's theater.
Mesmerizing.
It's theater that has a narrative that they want you to believe.
Yeah.
They need you to believe that narrative so that you'll stay in your lane and continue your daily, in and out.
Exactly.
And you're not going to question the reality that's being presented before you.
Not at all. Okay, guys, make it a level. Yeah, it's just it, and it also. I was trying to I was thinking about this when you were talking a minute ago. It gives this. I know what I was going to say. My somebody I know, a loved one of mine, uh, described it like the television and certain like news channels that lean towards an ideology. He was like, I think he might have even seen it in another place, so I'm not sure who to give credit this to, but it's like a fishing hook with bait on it. You could get conditioned if you've always had that one singular source of information. You get conditioned to agree, like you said. You start to kind of think you have a relationship where you almost feel invested emotionally with this box, and you believe once you pick your side or channel or favorite whatever, you start to kind of believe in a way a news, and now a 24-hour news, you start to believe most of the things they say.
Right.
So if your thoughts and your political ideology align with this person or this whatever, but then once in a while they'll throw something in there that pushes you in that they want you to think. It's in my, and it was called, that's the hook. The bait is the worm, and then but there's this thing you can't see because the water's murky, and but and oh, that's, I want that. I agree with that. But then bam, they throw something in there they want you to think, and it could be a particular stance on another country, or some type of just social issue, or any number of things, but. You can bet that most of the time it's actually a hook, and it's going to take your freedoms away. It's going to take your individualism away. It's not going to be good. Just like a hook's not good. And I think about that a lot when I'm watching a news station or listening to somebody. I think, do they have a hook, or are they just giving me information?
Well,
Or is there a hook?
you hear a lot about normalcy bias, and
Yes, and that's probably what this is. Yeah.
So you have somebody that's talking to you, and 80%, 85% of what they're telling you, you're like, oh yeah, that's something that they've said before. That's something that I agree with. That's a political ideology that I'm is relative to my train of thought. So you're going down this path, and then they introduce that little 10, 15% of stuff that moves the Oberlin window a little bit and kind of shifts it just enough to nudge it. And then maybe they'll mention it again, and then over time you become conditioned, and then all of a sudden now this is your belief. It's been incorporated into your code of ethics,
right.
your train of thought, the way that you perceive things, and they've just shifted your psychology without you even knowing it. And it's because you have these trusted relationships with people that you don't know.
That you have no idea what they are.
You have no idea what their agenda is. Right. And that goes for all spectrums of media and ideologies, from the far left to the far right and everything in between.
Yep.
You just don't know what you're buying into. And once you say, well, I agree with that. Well, I mean, the whole purpose of them having these camps is to alienate you and build a wall around you so that you can't exit and understand what's going on at the other camp. You just know you disagree with it, but you don't know the theory with it. You don't. So there's no room for centrist anymore. It's just this extreme point of view, and even people that claim to be centrist are, in essence, extreme.
Yeah. And a lot of people since the Overton window is being moved, people that really are centrist, people that want to live and let live, just kind of be,
be left alone.
Yeah. They're being forced to defend themselves in a way. Somebody that wants to be left alone, wants government to be smaller, wants political influence to be smaller, wants our daily lives to be governed by faith or religion, or even just what's seen as kind of typical American normal, or whatever that is. They're being labeled these horrible names because they don't want people to tell them that you got to be able to, like, have your daughter have somebody go into a bathroom that's a man, you know what I mean, or compete with them in sports or something. Like, you're insane. And I know there are more centrists out there because I don't ever run into anybody that, not really, that, and maybe it's the company I keep, that it's my own little social real life echo chamber, but I don't hardly ever run into anybody. And I like to have these conversations with a lot of people, and not too many people think that any of what's trying to be presented as normal these days, they don't agree with a lot of it. I don't know what that means, but you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, so these ideas are all like electronic. And this is, I wanted to get here with you, and I don't hope this doesn't go too crazy, but whatever. I've been just
Whatever.
whatever. I've been thinking more and more, just going back to like some of our roots when we first started this,
Sure.
like the old podcast talking about AI and things like that. And I've just been thinking, all this influence and all these things are almost, they're digits, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's where we're getting our information from nowadays. So that's where we're seeing influence from. And all this super fringe stuff that's being turned into what's normal, and you're some kind of Nazi if you just don't want certain things to if you want to be left alone, basically you're almost, and you're forced to like defend yourself, you're a Nazi or whatever, some racist or whatever. I mean, and I've been thinking, man, is there some AI, even if it's a tiny little bit? We know there is, because it's what we see on YouTube, it's the algorithms and all that. How much influence is that on us? How much is it dividing us? How much is it like the Biden Trump stuff? I mean, dude, that is like, it almost seems scientific the way it's split. Do you know what I mean? It feels like everything is split so perfectly down the middle. The major issues that are presented to us nowadays are either Trump or Biden, this or that. You hate it, this or that. You know what I mean? Like you have to, like you said, there's no room for citrus anymore. You said it perfectly. It's almost seems designed. Are we doing it to ourselves? Is it being pushed? If it's being pushed, what or who is pushing it, and why?
We're doing so much to ourselves. I mean, let's just talk about the mask thing for a minute, okay? So
So I guess I do see people that okay.
So you go out and you see all of these people, and they're all wearing masks. Now, whether they believe that they should be wearing masks or that the masks are effective or any of that, it's not even a question of rationality anymore. It's just, I'm in the parking lot of the store. I'm putting on my mask before I even get out of the car to walk across the parking lot to go into the store. There's no more thought into what people are doing. So it's this idea that has accumulated people. I think it was Jordan Peterson talks about it a lot, that people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. So what if
there's a fucking cat?
That's a cat. Well, thank you, kitty.
Yeah.
Shout out to the kitty outside in heat.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, damn. Ideas don't have people. People have ideas. People don't have ideas. Ideas have people.
Ideas have people.
Okay.
So ideas are these non-physical forms, and they're collecting people through the internet. So what if ideas are using people, and it's an alien life form in itself, and it's collecting people through social media, through media itself, like, through the internet?
What came first, the idea or the person that thought of
the idea for the internet?
Yeah.
So the idea for the internet creates ideas that are actively out there, encapsulating people into its brackets of existence.
Well, it's hard for me to imagine. I know what it's like, a chicken before the egg before the chicken type question, where what's really leading us? Are we really leading ourselves? Are we some type of is our spinal cord and our brain an antenna for something, an ether out there with ideas, or is the internet, like you said, is that the idea? Is that the force? It's hard for me to envision. This, like if we wanted to build this shed, we would have to collect wood and make a foundation and build the shed. So the shed wasn't there. So just like the internet wasn't there, so people had to come to the idea of, hey, what if we had these electronic devices that we're all starting to accumulate in our offices and our buildings and our homes? What if we could make them talk together? But at what point does all those computers connected together, and this is just fucking Terminator shit, when does it become a brain? When does it become this massive master?
Is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is. There's neurons and connection points and process.
And we're the connection points.
We are. We're like the physical. What is that?
Synapses. We're like this. We're the synapses.
We're the synapses. We're not touching each other, but we're transmitting information.
It's going back and forth.
Yeah.
between us and the phone. So I guess the space in
So what
between
the fuck are we, dude?
I think we're trapped right now.
Yeah.
We've become so accustomed to this technology, and we don't even know what this technology is. This technology is completely. I mean, could you build a phone?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. So I mean, so who's building phones? You know, so,
But I also understand. I couldn't build one, but I could understand
the
being
physical properties of it.
the physical properties, more of the procedure that happens for a phone to be built.
If I dropped you off in the woods right now,
Yeah.
and you were in the woods by yourself for 2 years, and I came and picked you up,
Oh, I'd never have a phone.
right?
No, but what I mean is like, so all these. So if we're saying that in some way the internet is a neural network for the brain of AI, then
It may not even.
it takes multiple computers to become to multiple sources of processing power. I think that humans are multiple sources of processing power as well. So I could see how I can't build a phone, but I could build upon the people in past generations that come up with calculus and electronics and mathematics and integrated circuits, and then moved on to making them smaller, and how the building of a phone is compartmentalized with lots of different people that specialize in plastics and engineering, electrical engineering, and certain things like that. I can see that process. I wouldn't be able to build one. I think it takes massive resources to even build one phone. You know what I mean? Like the plastics and the processing power and electronic. I mean, all lithium for the batteries. I mean, so I can see how millions of people could come together to do that. Just like millions of computers could maybe be smart enough to fool all of us.
How quickly did this technology emerge?
Yeah, really quickly.
I mean, we went from like these boxy phones, these cellular phones that look like you were literally holding a box,
yeah,
and to a flip phone, to these flat screens, to these exotic phones that they have now. I mean, in 5-10 years, they're going to be integrated into the brain of the user.
I think that's going to happen. I mean, I think it's going to happen.
So let's talk about the AI thing. We did talk about AI. We've talked about that a lot. Is that an alien technology? Is that an alien form of control? Is that going to be the launching pad for the next species? Like, are we creating something that's gonna in which we're gonna meet our own demise, and it's going to launch out of our creation into the physical world and go forth into the universe, exponentially growing upon itself and creating some type of life form that, I mean, when we think about life forms, we think about physical life forms, but we rarely talk about like what's going on with our thoughts. Or where do our thoughts emerge from?
I've wondered this a lot. So we've talked about it before. Like, where does it happen? Like, okay, yeah, and we could have some machine hooked up to us where somebody could say, move your finger, move our fingers, but there is a point where if you go back a little bit, it's like, when does it start? How does it start? What kicks it? What makes it kick? I mean, we're really just saying, what is life? What is life? Is this natural? I read an article and it was talking about how the guy's point of view was it's physically impossible for anything that we're capable of to breathe life into just this mixer or whatever. I mean, like true life. So what is it? We're not capable of doing it. So there has to be something, a God or God himself.
Yeah.
Or I mean, there has to be.
I don't know.
How do you? I mean, that was his point of view.
Will AI eventually annihilate us, and then have to turn and then want to turn around after it's existed for a little while and reverse engineer its creators?
Yeah, I have no idea, but it's like a logic circle because it really is. We can't know the answer. I don't think we can. I mean, is there a way we could break free? How do you break free? I one thing I think that separates kind of our generation a little bit from like a baby boomer generation or a lot of people that especially like are sucked into the TV is that we can see the hook a little bit, or we at least ask, is there a hook? But this kind of talk, I've tried to talk like this with other people, like in the end, they just will not do it. People that are a little older, nope. You know what I mean? Like, what does it matter? We're just having a conversation. Why does it? We can get as crazy as we want. We love each other. Nobody's here.
Right.
We can say some crazy shit. We're just talking.
Right.
And at the end of it, we go, man, that's crazy, right? Yeah. All right, let's go eat. Let's go eat. But it's like they're scared. They don't want to approach. So to figure out if AI is doing something to us, I don't know if we'll ever be able to. It's tricked us pretty good if it is. I mean,
and it continues to trick us.
It just keeps fucking tricking us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. So I mean, let's. You said you wanted to talk about aliens, so let's talk about aliens.
All right. Well, AI is the alien? I don't know. Is it a life form?
I don't think that it's the alien. I don't know what the alien is. I don't think we can understand it. I think that any physical manifestation of aliens is either our own government trying to make us believe that there's aliens, or it's some formulation of some advanced civilization or advanced way of existence and thinking in the physical plane that's emerging here because they're technology is so sophisticated that it's emerging in a physical form. But I think the true aliens, they're archetypes.
Yeah,
they've been here this whole time. It's in the Bible. Read the Bible. They talk about it in the Bible. I mean, it's in the oldest writings of man. It's in the oldest artistic expressions of men. On cave walls. It's in the most archaic ideas that we've ever had. We've always wondered what else is there. Like there's something else besides us that's more intelligent. That's either some type of Promethean organism that seeded us, or that is more advanced than us, that's watching over us, and that's probably where our original ideas of God came from. Yeah. There's a lot of different things that you can go down these little rabbit holes. I don't know what aliens are. I'll tell you this: it's not flying saucers. I mean, dude, if you were an alien that came light years across the galaxy to come view us, would you be driving a tin can Las Vegas Strip looking piece of machinery that could crash into Los Alamos or New Mexico? I mean, dude, that's
but dude, I think that I know where you're going. I think that
I mean, do they need to have landing lights like our planes do? I mean, like really?
Well, they may have some fucking regulation where they come from, and they have to have those blinky shit on it. You know what I mean? Like, just because they're billions of years more advanced than us doesn't mean they don't have some stupid rules where when they're like, a lot of them go, "What the fuck? We gotta put blinky lights on our spaceships when we go to Earth? They're gonna see us." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because I mean, I think
they are not smart enough to see us.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone from cavemen to shooting rockets off the surface of the Earth in 100,000 years. So, what
do you think that concerns them?
No, I don't. Well, I don't. I have no idea. I don't
like
don't
if they're here, they're watching us, and they're like, "Ooh, they're getting a little." Well, they're getting a little violent. They've got these nuclear weapons, and they're pointing them at each other, and they're just one person has the button to destroy the world.
The problem with that is even if, why would they care about that? Why? I mean, if they're having a homeland or some technology that allows them to travel the universe in just faster than light, bend time, some bullshit, whatever, bend gravity. Well, they can just get away from us. I mean, a nuclear weapon, all nuclear weapons could go off at once on Earth, and if they're in the closest next galaxy, then they would. It's like if if a microbe is under the sea right now, 3,000 miles away from me, I would have any idea. Do you know what I mean? It's that far removed, I guess. You know what I mean? So why would they care? Why would they care? Other than just like to look at us like we're a zoo or something. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really care.
Well, that's the way we look at things.
I know, but that's how we process. So what do you think they would? How do you think they would look different?
I would think that if you're an advanced civilization, you're like we always assimilate what we think other things would be based on how we behave.
Yeah.
And that's not how they're going to behave. They're going to have a way more advanced way of behaving. We're not going to even be able to understand their behavior probably. I would imagine. They're not going to come here and I mean if they could annihilate us, they would have already done it.
Yeah.
If they're watching us like we're like we're rats or something, well then they're no better than us.
Sure.
So how so their character, their consciousness didn't expand to go to the to transcend to the next dimension in order for their technology to advance to a level where they could travel to us. You would think all that would kind of go hand in hand. If your technology is compounding upon itself exponentially, your spirituality and your consciousness, it's gonna have to do something to keep up with that. I mean, you can't just or you're not sentient. You're no longer conscious. You're not part of this fabric of existence. I mean, even if we're gonna talk about different levels of existence, these people are way more advanced than us, and we're down here. Even we recognize that there's this interconnectivity, this interoperability between us and everything else that exists. And you feel that it's energy. It's something that, maybe their vested interest in us, we're not able to understand it, but because they understand how things of energy are all, they're all dependent upon each other. I mean, our energies perhaps some kind of way affects them way across the galaxy, the universe.
If they're able to, we have no idea what their capabilities could be or how in tune they are with the universe.
But I would imagine if they could travel here, they'd be pretty damn in tuned.
Yeah, I agree. But I wonder at what point, like let's take us for example, how advanced would we have to get before there wasn't some element of our monkey cells left over where we just want to, fuck and do stupid shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, so how far along, or just whatever, just jump off buildings with, little base jump off buildings and stuff and just do dumb shit because we have a physical body that we can feel this adrenaline and we can feel this connection to. What it felt like to run from something 100,000 years ago that was trying to kill you. We had this fight or flight. Like, as long as you have a physical body, maybe that's what you meant by sentient, just energy, sentient energy pulses. Yeah, just basically consciousness floating out in space. Do you think we can get to that point? Like, but how? So when is that point where our bodies leave? We don't need our body anymore. Or what's the
when we die?
Okay, well there you go. Dumbass, yeah, that's exactly what it is. So, but do you think that are you saying that aliens are us, dead, our spirits, our souls, are we looking back at Earth from heaven? Like, is that what aliens are?
I think aliens exist in two camps, Barrett.
Okay, they're either left,
Coke or Pepsi,
Trump or Biden.
There's probably all different spectrums of aliens if they're out there. I would imagine though that if you had these benevolent alien civilizations, they would have a higher form of morality than we do, a higher form of consciousness than we do. They probably wouldn't even necessarily exist in the physical form. They may be ideas themselves. And influencing our behavior, influencing us. Maybe there is something special about us.
I mean, maybe.
I would like to think that if you and me and all of our buddies were stuck in a pen and somebody came out and started spreading corn around and then shot one of us
Yeah.
in the head, that we wouldn't all just keep eating corn
Right.
and lick up the blood
Yeah. And
in the
follow
mud
the guy around
and
that just shot
just shot him.
Right. Yeah.
You know, yet pigs, who they say are so quote unquote, human like,
Right.
that's how they behave.
Yeah.
We don't behave like that.
No.
I hope we don't behave like that.
Well, okay. But you could make the argument there is an element of a part of maybe everybody, but definitely a part of society. I mean, we have horrible, horrible crime. You know what I mean? We have people
We're animals in our stuff.
sociopaths,
Sure.
and psychopaths, and people that could do horrible things to other people, and it never. We think, at least, it doesn't affect them in any way. You know, serial killers that just get off on it almost. It's they don't. So I don't know. So is that any worse than that? What those pigs showed when you was like this absence of something, whereas maybe a sociopath, is it an absence, something missing, or is it they just have a block? I don't know. I don't really know that, but yeah, it was crazy to watch.
It's like there's no self actualization.
None. Yeah, they just
There's a survival instinct.
Yeah.
But
Was there?
Well, I mean, they were going for the feed.
Yeah, they're hungry. Yeah, I guess.
But
yeah.
I mean, but they're not hungry, are they? I mean, look
Probably
how.
not.
Yeah, I mean,
they're probably not.
they're eating that feed all day long.
Do you, man? I don't know. I don't know. It was weird to see that. It was weird to see the way they reacted, and they just didn't give a shit. They were just like, "All right, cool. Let's drink his blood, eat this corn." You know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't. That wouldn't happen to us. We would, if somebody came up and shot you, I would be like, "Oh fuck, we got to get out of here. Let's attack this guy. Let's, we're coming back tomorrow. Okay, we got to get out of. We got to be out of here by tonight. They're coming back tomorrow."
But they're not sitting around a campfire, sharing stories, passing down ideas.
No. So what makes us do that? I mean, is it divine? Is it?
I think it's something divine. I think it's something spiritual. It's something that every civilization has recognized, every human civilization, in some form or another. I mean, Native Americans recognize the spirit. Everybody
Sure.
recognizes the spirit, unless it's a nihilist.
It's an archetype of itself. Just this
Sure.
untouchable, unseeable thing that we recognize we have just by observation of other creatures.
And it has a tangible energy to it that certain, let's say, individuals like to feed off of.
Yeah.
And it's very
interesting way to
it's very apparent. Well, it's just very apparent that you can't take a. I mean, I suppose you can. You could probably take a group of rats and excite them and make them dump a bunch of neurotransmitters or hormones, and then try to pull those particular chemicals and harvest them from the rats, but they're not doing that with rats. They're doing that with humans, because there's something energetic and tangible that's occurring inside of the physical form of a human being, and it allows us to have discernment, allows us to recognize that there's these different levels of existence. We look up at the stars and we wonder, what is that? The greatest mystery of all. We look at the stars. I mean, how many animals look at the stars and ponder
I don't know.
what is? Do they go any further than?
Very many.
Yeah, I mean, do they go any further than the light it provides?
Right.
And maybe maybe we don't know. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
But I know we do, and there's something. For me, there's something metaphysical about that. It goes back to our conversation we had last time. I mean, do you choose to look at everything from strictly a physical form, physical standpoint, and so you can explain everything away through theoretical physics or through science, and you can just say, well, in the physical state,
or
x,
pain or whatever,
x plus y equals z, and then that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Or is there something superseding those physical expressions that's underlying, that's embedded in that has some type of essence and meaning, and that's what we are doing, is we're not just going off the physicality of things. I mean, we feel our way through this world a lot of times. And it's not just, like you get that, like that sick feeling in your stomach. Like,
we all know the gut. It's a gut feeling. We all
it's a
know
gut
what that
feeling,
is. Yeah.
I mean,
And it's interesting now that, because don't they say that you have neurons in your gut and neurons
yeah,
in your heart,
absolutely.
neurons in
You
your brain?
produce
That's why you
you
feel
produce a
those
lot of
things.
neurotransmitters in your gut.
That's why you kind of feel that something's not right, or something is right, or you're happy or anxious or whatever.
Sure.
You feel it in your gut.
Yeah.
You get stressed, you feel it in your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you feel, like you think it in your heart. It's not, it's hard to describe, but we all know what I'm sure we're all, we all know what I mean.
Sure.
You think it in your stomach or your heart, and it makes so much sense that they're like, oh shit, there's neurons in here. That's why. We always knew it. We always could feel it. And we, like you said, we're so much, and even, we've been basically the same for 100-something thousand years. So that people years and years ago, they had no idea even what the word anxiety meant, or stress, or heart attack. They felt it all too. And so that's what they know something is there. It's this energy.
It's an energy.
It's an energy, and we can feel it. I mean, everybody's experienced somebody walk in a room, or you see a friend that's normally one way and now the other. Honestly, when you pulled up and got out of your car earlier, I could feel it slipped my mind about your friend, but as soon as you brought him back up, I was like, oh, that's what it is. Like, you had this different vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could tell. I was like, Philip's got something on his mind or something, or whatever. Or he's just kind of chill, like you're just, it's different. It was a different energy.
Yeah.
And I'm probably, my antenna for it is probably not nearly as good as some people's out there, I would assume. It's like anything. It's like, maybe it's just as like being able to sing, naturally, or something like that, carry a tune or rhythm, or being able to play some sport kind of intuitively really well, or play chess or something like that. There's probably people out there that can pick up on that energy better than other people. I can play chess, but not as good as somebody that competes or whatever. I can play basketball, but not as good as him. And then maybe my intuition is good. I don't know. I can't measure it by anybody but my own, I guess.
I think it's something that you can hone in on, though.
Yeah.
You can develop.
Yeah, you think so?
Absolutely.
How would you go about increasing your intuition? What would you focus?
Meditation.
Yeah.
Yoga. I would read the Bible. I would go to church. Allow yourself to feel something outside of the paradigm you've built for yourself. Tammy and I were having this interesting conversation about the mask, and it's like, people build these prisons around themselves and expect you to come into it with them.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that that's the kind of mentality that a lot of people carry with them, is misery loves company. And once someone devises and justifies a certain way of thinking in their mind, well, now you've got to think that way too.
Yeah.
Another reason why I have a hard time sometimes with, as a Christian, once you accept Christ as your Savior, to speak in Christian terms, once you accept Christ as your Savior, there's different levels. So, like, you're baptized, and then you start becoming a student of the Bible, and of you go to church and everything else. But then there's another level where you do discipleship, where you try to talk to other people about Jesus and about Christianity. And that's something that I've always had a difficult time with, because I don't want to be that guy that's like, you need to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. Or you're going to hell.
Yeah. And that's what people,
well, I know a lot of people, because look, I know, because I was,
you've probably been there.
I was an atheist.
Yeah.
I grew up as a Catholic. I went off to, went to college, became, a scientist in college, and thought that, that was the way, and really rejected any ideas of God at that point in my life. but I had Christian friends that would try to talk to me about it. And I know the distaste. I get it. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
understand it. You
Well,
know,
even if you're into something, somebody can bug you about it. You know what I mean? Somebody can like, yeah, dude, I like pizza too. Chill. You know what I mean? Like somebody can, but no, you've never had this fucking pizza. Like, okay, it's pizza. I'll try it one day. Like you can So it's an energy. You feel like okay,
it's an energy.
back off.
So something that I've always struggled with is that element of, or that level of Christianity with discipleship. And I feel like there are tactful ways that you can plant seeds and not be obtrusive
Yeah.
into how people view the world, because I don't want to be someone who's trying to influence someone to view the world in some kind of way that's that runs perpendicular to how they view the world. That's never my intent. I would want someone to be inspired by something that I would say, or have a desire to want to learn more about it on their own than to try to tell somebody.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we talk about things in here, like just very lowest common denominator type stuff, like politics, or
Yeah. We're not talking about anything. Yeah, obviously.
but I mean, let's say we're going to talk about like the water in Flint, Michigan, or something, and how it's I mean, you could light it on fire or whatever the craziness is, and they still haven't fixed that problem, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a lowest common denominator problem, because it isn't. It's a huge problem, especially for the people that live there, and it's grotesque that they've allowed it to go on for so long and that they've actually done that. But
go ahead.
It's a way of thinking where I wouldn't want to be like you need to know about this, we just mention it. Maybe you could go look into it yourself. Maybe it inspires a desire in your heart to want to learn a little bit more about it, and maybe expand your ability to think on it.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about podcasts in general, and the internet in general, regardless of whatever it winds up being, if we ever figure it out, is that because there seems to be a relatively large number of people that don't have an agenda, other than they just want to be, make money off ad revenue or whatever, but they generally got into it and still in large ways maintain just kind of they don't seem to have an agenda. They don't seem to, it's production, but they don't, they seem genuine as you can be and have 1 million views a video or whatever. So they plant seeds, they plant seeds in our eye. And like you're saying, some of them are good. Some of them send us in directions. Some of us led us to do our own podcast, led us to talk about, things that we're interested in, have a little more courage to talk the way you're talking now, and just try to think through what's really important, what really means, what how you want to be a better person. We can just and we're recording it. We're like, we're out here just saying, hey, we don't know anything. We're just trying to figure this shit out like anybody else. So here's how I think. If you want to come talk to me, cool.
Right. Right.
If not, just don't hurt me or anybody I love, and stay out of my way.
It was a really powerful moment today to watch Matt get baptized.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I mean, I was tearing up, and I looked over, and Tammy was crying, and I'm like tearing up right now just thinking about it. But to see someone publicly profess their belief in God and their belief in in Jesus, that's a big step for anyone. Yeah. And like I probably said it before on this podcast, I know, a bunch of times, so I don't think it's a mystery to anybody that's listened to any of these podcasts that I believe in Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, I say it a lot. And I know that sometimes our music doesn't always reflect it properly, but it's an artistic expression. I'm a fallen human being.
Yeah.
It comes from a place of a fallen world a lot of times.
Sure.
And
it also draws upon your experiences as a man, as a person, and not all of that was good. I mean,
right.
Not all of it was something you maybe should have been. I mean, you're using all that energy, and you're trying to get. We're talking right now, and we could talk about some crazy shit that has nothing to do with anything divine or God or Jesus, and then we could could go back to it, just like sometimes in the music that you know the lyrics that
Yeah.
you kind of you might go a little crazy, but then something brings it back together because that's the path, that's the journey anyway.
Yeah.
We don't start out knowing what we think and what we feel. We still hardly do, but we know there's a direction, and you're choosing to go in the direction that you think is right for you and is good.
Yeah.
And that's how that happens in the music. Yeah, you might say some crazy shit, but
Especially when we're freestyling.
well, when you're I don't do much of it when you're doing it. Yeah. Well, but that's where the ideas come from. That's where
It does.
when you pick through the stuff, when occasionally you'll come up, you'll freestyle for 20 minutes, whatever, and we'll pick through some stuff. You don't tend to pick the crazy negative-y shit. You know what I mean? It's more, it starts to become more of a positive message, although maybe it doesn't sound like it's, but it is. It does usually turn out to be that way.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So when you're constructing it a little bit, you're kind of moving in that direction. But saying that crazy shit, sometimes it's just fun.
It is.
That's just all it is.
It is.
Fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
I mean, are we really supposed to be practicing killing each other 2 or 3 times a week? Are we supposed to be doing that? Well, we do, and we love it.
I think we're supposed to.
Yeah, you think? I think we are too. But I mean,
we're here right now doing this because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a. It's like we told each other, okay, we're going to be committed to producing more content.
Yeah.
And whether 2 people listen to it, 100 people listen to it, it doesn't matter. You and I, we're sitting here in a long form conversation, being creative in our thoughts and expressing them very lucidly, just out in the open for everybody to see.
Yeah,
open open psychological assessment. Here you go. And that's something that we're doing on a Sunday night when we could be just sitting on the couch or whatever.
Which, hey man, that's. I mean, I tell you what, dude, it's doing this kind of stuff. I'm always torn. Anytime I take on some new. And I hate calling jujitsu a hobby. It almost even kind of pisses me off. It even has at points, like, talking to people, it's not a fucking hobby, dude. You don't understand. Yeah, it's a hobby. If somebody grabs you and I break their fucking neck, then you'll be glad I've been doing this hobby. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, those kind of, but then also I am just kind of there to have fun and stay in shape and all that stuff too. It is, it's an activity. It is
I don't think people really unless they do it, they don't really understand.
Yeah. They don't.
Even when they come to class at first, like they kind of like don't really get it.
Don't get it. Yeah.
They don't get it yet.
Yeah.
It takes you a minute. Once you put that gi on, you get it, I think. And you have that first real roll with somebody.
Yeah.
And they
fucked your world up,
and
dude.
they don't.
You're like, what?
They beat the brakes off of you, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I am completely vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I thought that I could do something, and
Nope.
I can't.
No, I can't do anything.
So maybe this is something that I need to learn, because if I meet somebody in the street that can do this better than me, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Or, I mean, and dude, even somebody that's done jiu-jitsu for 15 years could get hit in the head with a brick. I mean, but
Oh, absolutely.
but it's just, you realize how vulnerable you are. And all I've ever tried to do is make myself better than I was before. That's it. That's all you can do. Because I know that there are levels. We all know this by this point. There's levels to this shit. Everybody says that nowadays. And you really see it. Like, I know there are people out there that could just tap me over and over and over again. And it may not even matter if we change the rules to allow fucking biting and headbutts and all eye gouge. And even if I was the only one that could do it, it would probably strangle me to death over and over and over again. But I can strangle my old self to death over and over and over again. And that person can strangle even my older self over and over and over again. And that's the levels for me. That's my levels. That's all I can really do.
If I ran into myself at 24,
yeah, like peak
I'm
physical conditioning.
I'm 43 now.
Yeah.
If I would have
41.
ran into my 24 year old self in a dark alley, and my 24-year-old self thought that it wanted a piece of my 43-year-old self, my 24-year-old self would be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, dude, I know. It's the
world
same
of
way I
hurt.
feel. I say that all the time.
And would have no idea what they just bit off.
Yeah.
That they trying to chew. They're not going to be able to chew that.
It's an interesting thought experiment to think about that, because I say my version of that is if my 20 something year old self peak physical condition, which I'm in way better shape now than I ever was when I was 24, and I'm even kind of out of shape right
Me
now.
too.
You know what I mean? But let's just say I got in shape when I was 24, like jogging and doing weights and push-ups and sit-ups and some, just normal activity. Got in good shape. Walked into the gym one night. For the first couple of years, I'd beat the shit out of myself,
Yeah.
and then it would start to change.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Obviously, because we see that all the time. We see it over and over and over again. That's the kind of progression, and it becomes this thing. But I get the shit beat out of me all the time too. So it becomes this thing where it's one of the most, in my opinion, spiritual and meaningful things I've done in my life. Just and stuck with it. You know what I mean? I've been at it for 6 years now. You close to that, right? You could have gone through an engineering and a half degree by that time. Done all kinds of, maybe changed jobs, had a kid, almost a 7-year-old by this point. All kinds of things have changed in my life, and but I do it because, God, to call it a hobby, it's like, man, it's so much different than that. It's spiritual, it's church, it's exercise, it's self defense, it's connecting with people like you and everybody else there. It's unless you do it for for a while, it's hard to.
We're not gluing together model airplanes.
No. Which, hey, that's fun. But I've done that.
Sure
but
cool.
But that's not what we're doing.
That's not what we're doing.
No. And the people and there's, it's funny, the dichotomy of man, when people like Biden, Trump, Coke, Pepsi, fucking mayonnaise, no mayonnaise. You see this.
Wait, no mayonnaise.
I know, I love mayonnaise. I'm a mayonnaise person, but there are people out there that fucking hate it. That hate it. There are people that have killed people over that, I'm sure.
You put mayonnaise on this?
Yeah, motherfucker, you died. We get people once in a while, or people that just never even try it. They go, oh no, I'm never doing that, never doing it. And then you get people that do it once, and that's it. They're hooked for the rest of their life,
right.
Or as long as they can do it.
Right.
Oh, this is one thing I wanted to talk about with you and Ben. We were talking about like introducing things like jiu-jitsu and wrestling and stuff in school early, and I was thinking about like professor's kids class and how. I know that if I would have been introduced to jiu-jitsu when I was like 10 or 11 years old, I would have probably fallen in love with it just as much as I did when I was 35. So, but I know that I've put some years on my body doing it. I mean, that's unavoidable. What it is, it's unavoidable. I don't have an ACL right now. I've, broken my pinky toe, cracked a rib, got a little aches and, got a little.
And you're still out there training.
Still out there fucking doing it all the time. So if I'd have started when I was 10, you know what I mean? After when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I'd have some of those same issues maybe. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I'd be that much younger. So I'm kind of in a way glad I didn't find it when I was 10 years old. And I think about the kids that are doing it now that are 10, that you see them, they fucking love it. They're just as in love with jiu-jitsu as we are. They figure out how it makes them feel at 10, 11, 12 years old. And, they're going to get they're going to grow. They're going to go through puberty, get girlfriends. They're going to lose some interest and stuff. But you see how much they care about it. And they're there 3 times a week, sweaty, choking each other to death, and they're 12. You know what I mean? I wonder, like, how long can their bodies, when they're 35, are they going to be that? You know what I mean? I kind of think.
You found it exactly when you were supposed to find it.
I guess that's probably right. It's probably right. Exactly when I needed to find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe in some parallel universe, you never found it.
Yeah. Wonder what he looks. Wonder what he's like. He's honestly, jiu-jitsu hasn't really like changed me. It's just sharpened me. It's refocused me. I'm still me, you know, but it's made me more of a formidable human in a lot of ways, and it's also made me realize that I'm also a flawed human in so many more ways than I ever consider I was, and it's focused me in a lot of ways.
It's given me a level of confidence that's not an arrogance. It allows me to relax, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of confidence that you can have that's a pseudo confidence. And it makes you arrogant. It makes you rash. It makes you say things that you'll regret later, or maybe you won't regret them. Maybe you don't have any ability to introspect. I feel like jujitsu for me has allowed me to become confident in a way where I can be relaxed in my everyday interactions with people. And I think people sense that relaxation
Yeah.
and that easiness, and they also understand that there's strength behind that. And that's what it builds. It builds this strength of character that allows you to maneuver through circumstances in life that may be very difficult, but you learn through jujitsu that you can breathe and you can focus and you can relax and you can get through it instead of tensing up and hyperventilating and being quick to speak in a situation that you didn't fully think about what you were about to say because your mind was frazzled.
Yeah.
You know, it not just allows you to physically relax and slow down your breathing in a physical sense, but in an autonomic sense, but also in a mental sense. You can almost kind of slow the matrix down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. It does feel kind of like that.
It's Neo-ish in a way.
Right.
It does allow you to see things. It makes you, I'm not going to say this in a general sense. It's made me more aware of myself in circumstances and situations with people. It's made me have better self-control for things that perhaps in the past I may have been a little bit more impulsive about. Particularly, you know, when you're having interactions with people and they are trying to push you.
Does that? I don't get. I mean, when you were talking about people picking up on you, your energy and stuff, I don't. And maybe this is a consequence of the last few years of my life. I don't ever feel pushed by people.
Oh, I don't either.
I used to a little, but now, I don't feel
like
it anymore.
I don't feel like
I don't know if I just don't care if I have a different energy. I don't know. Well,
I think one thing is, you know, you're a male, and you know you're I mean, you're not like a huge dude, but you're a big guy, you know. And so I think that's the first thing is, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, because I see every once in a while. I saw a dude in Walmart was like 7'5". I was like, look at this fucking dude, man.
Yeah.
What would I do if that motherfucker grabbed me? Like, because he wasn't like fat, or he was tall and he had a little muscle. He had a little gut too, but he was
double leg his big ass.
I don't know, man. I'm not a wrestler. I'd invert, maybe break his leg. You know what I mean? I'd dislocate his knee or something. You know what I mean? Because you can imagine sweeping that dude with a leg lock. I mean, if you leg locked and swept him, that's a long way to fall. You know what I mean? Just hang on to his leg and sweep here. Boom. All right, I'm gonna break his knee down. You know? But I don't know. I mean, but if he just like rape choke grabbed me, I'd be like, ah! I mean, he was huge. It was crazy how big he was. Anyway, I almost said like, hey man, you ought to come to jiu-jitsu. I did tell a guy one time. I met this guy one time when I was working at my old business. He came in and he was like 6'5", but like in shape. I was like, hey man, you ever thought about doing jiu-jitsu? He's like, oh no. I mean, I was like, he worked on a farm or something, you know, like worked out and stuff. I was like, dude, you need to come to jiu-jitsu, man. I would love to try to choke you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like if I choke you, I can choke anybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So I gave him the address and stuff. He didn't show up, you know.
Well, I mean, you do have to think about it. I mean, we have guys in there that are, you know, CrossFit fanatics, that a linebacker for college football. I mean, you know, these are guys that, like, you know, if you saw this person in the street and you didn't know jiu-jitsu, they would cream you.
Yeah.
They would cream you. But we get on the mat with them, and I mean, because you have more experience in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily equate to how things could turn out on the street.
Right. Sure.
I don't want people to get confused, like you're going to have some kind of superpower.
No, yeah.
But
no, we're all still human. And
we're all still human.
With a brick,
yeah, there's always extenuating circumstances and variables that are, you know, that come into play. But wouldn't you love to cut those corners out a little bit?
Yeah.
And know that there's just a straight line between you and getting out of the room without any complications, because the minute they put their hands on you, you're not even going to think about it. Like you're just going to do what you would do in the gym.
Yeah.
And if that person doesn't know any of those moves, they're going to be on their back very quickly. And then you're going to be on top of them. And, you can decide then if you're going to break something, if you're going to choke choke them out, whatever you're going to do. I mean, like, you have control.
Yeah. Dude, I just like the idea that, hey, man, I might get in a fight with somebody or something that could happen crazy in a situation with somebody who's not trained and they just fucking just knock me out or something. But,
yeah,
I mean, it could happen. But I like that it keeps you calm. I was at a gas station a while back, and somebody pulled a gun on the other guy. When you were talking about energy, some guy. I might have told you this story. I don't know. There was a guy in line. Another guy walked in. I was behind. I was in front of the guy behind me. I was next in line. There was a guy behind me, and another guy walked in. He said something to the guy behind him. Like if I saw you at a gas station, I'd be like, "Oh, look at this motherfucker." He said that. But when he said it, I was like, "Oh, they don't like each other." I could tell. He was like, "Oh, this motherfucker," and I was like, because he mumbled something. I was like, I don't like this energy.
Time to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I paid for my shit, and they started building up. And we're in this little tiny fucking gas station with chip racks all around us and stuff, down on Masonic, and I walked outside. I paid for my gas. The guy left right in front of me was like walking out right about when he came in. So I paid $20 in gas, whatever. Pump 3. I walked out, and they kind of followed each other out, and they were saying some shit. And one of the guys said, "I got something for you," and he said, "Yeah, where?" And he said, "I'm gonna get it." And he started walking towards his car, and the other guy said, "Oh, I got something too," and he made it to his car first, which was right by the pump, right in front of my pump where I was pumping my gas. And he pulled out a pistol and racked a round in it and when pointed it at him. And I just was like, well, I mean, I can't just get in my van and leave because, if they do shoot him, if some bullets start flying, I don't want them to. I don't want to be back in my fucking big house with my work van trying to get out of this gas station parking lot. I would rather just stay right here. I can see he's not mad at me. He's pointed at that fucking dude. You know what I mean? I can see where the bullet. He's close to me, but so I know where the gun is pointed. I'm behind this gas pump. I just kind of sat there and watched it all happen. My heart rate never went up at all. And I didn't even realize this till after I left. I was driving away. I was like, man, it didn't even scare me. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should have been scared. I don't know. But I just remember thinking, well, I'm glad I stayed calm in that. I'm glad I didn't flip the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And make some dumb decision. Like say something to the guy,
right,
or drive away, and then they shooting each other, and I'm in the line of fire. I just figured it out. It didn't bother me at all. Well, and I think that's jiu-jitsu.
That's good.
Well, it is, but I think it's jiu-jitsu. I think a lot of that is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
and
staying calm under pressure.
Staying calm under pressure. I think, it was a nice little. I was kind of glad that in a weird way, because it happened whether I wanted it to or not. I was glad that it did happen because at least I know, like, well. I mean, I stayed calm for that. I guess I'll stay calm for something else. You know what I mean? I don't know. So, also to your spatial awareness, when we're rolling and there's 30 of us on the mat and we're rolling in, 10, 12, 15 groups, you feel like I'm about to sweep somebody this way, but I see you moving in the corner of my eye, and all of a sudden I'll stop the person I'm sweeping, and then y'all go crash and you land down, or vice versa, or whatever, Or
I'll be setting up a sweep, and then I'll be like, oh, I'm going to sweep them into them. Well, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to set something
else up.
You got to
set something out.
Yeah. And the person you're rolling with, I mean, you're not even going to tell them anything. You're just going to, set something, something else up. And it might even put you in a position where.
That's happened. No, that's for sure happened.
Yeah, where like, okay, well now, now I'm in, technical mount or something because I was in butterfly. Yeah. I was going to sweep them one way, and I had to switch my hips to go the other way and try to isolate this arm, and all of a sudden they were able to,
they passed or something.
Shift their hips, and they're now that now I'm in technical mount. Okay, great. Well, I'll work from here. Whatever.
I'll work from here.
Yeah,
whatever. And dude, it's happened before when that situation has gone on for several steps. Like, oh, I'm gonna sweep you. Oh shit, I can't go that way. Let me do this. Oh shit, now he's past my leg. Oh shit, he got past. He's all right. I'm gonna roll you. Oh, I can't roll him over there. There's people over there. All right, well, I'm gonna do this. Oh shit, that guy. Okay, he can tackle him out. All right, I'm a forward trip. I can't forward trip either. I'm gonna land on Morgan. Shit, I can't. So you're literally just. Trying to figure it out.
And that dude's in the locker room telling another white belt, like, man, I had a really good roll tonight with Barrett.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I do legitimately get my ass kicked. Hey, guess who got me the other night, man? David Jones got me the other night.
Did he really?
Yeah,
nice.
Ezekiel choked or something. I don't even remember. I was standing over him, and I had my hand on his knees, and I kind of leaned in because I was thinking about like slamming his feet and jumping his knees and getting in the guard. So I kind of leaned in, dude, and he grabbed me like a fucking Venus flytrap. Boom. Got a Ezekiel choke and pulled me down on his chest, and I was like, "Oh well, I can get out of this. Oh, I can't get out. Oh shit, I can't get out of it."
That's awesome.
I had to tap him on his face because my arm was kind of trapped. My hand was right around by his face. So I just went like,
Yeah.
and he stopped, and I was like, "Dude, that was sweet." Yeah, so I was proud of him. It was nice.
Good, man.
It was good.
That's great. Yeah, I was rolling with Dustin Goins last week, and I don't know. I was kind of letting him work a little bit, and he got into, what was he in? I guess he got into side control, and no, this is what happened. He swept me, and I wasn't really trying to let him sweep me. And he swept me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, and now he's in side control. Well, he moved to north-south, that north-south choke, like
fast.
super quick. And it got tight really quick. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh. And I was like, I was kind of like, I was like, oh, wait, this is Dustin Goins. I can't let him choke me. So, I mean, I did weasel my way out of it, but it was close.
Yeah.
And it was tight.
Yeah.
And, if it was another white belt or maybe even a blue belt, they probably would have tapped to it. So after the roll, I told him how good it was, and encouraged him a little bit. I think it's really important to build up the people that we roll with.
Yeah.
I know that like a lot of times we talk about it, and I know some people will say like, well, Philip will destroy those white belts, and I will,
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you come in there and you're trying to really, get physical.
Well, you have to, yeah. I mean, you roll hard too, but you have to match people's energy too.
Sure.
I mean, you can get hurt matching people's energy when they're spazzing. But if you don't match their energy and you just let them fucking pass your guard and slam into your ribs,
you're gonna get hurt.
You can knee you in the head. You can get hurt.
Sure.
So anyway, but
yeah, but so a lot of times, what I heard Jocko say this, so I'll do this now. I'll tap somebody like real quick, like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, okay, what you want to work on?
Yeah.
But if it's like my first time rolling with them, usually I will tap them, 7 or 8 times. Just to let them know. It's like, this can happen to you. I mean, this is what happened to me.
Yeah, that's what
I went
to
through
me.
a year of this where everybody was just, passing me around like a cheap French whore.
Yeah.
And I was getting tapped left and right. But I will tell you that I would go home after those classes and just be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's exhilarating.
It's crazy.
And you're either going to be exhilarated or you're going to be crushed, and your ego's not going to be able to take it. And if your ego can't take it, well, then you don't belong
Yeah, it's
here.
supposed to be there anyway.
Yeah, you don't belong.
Well, that's what I love about it, because nobody's ego can. It crushes your ego.
Sure.
You just have to go, well, I can just rebuild my ego to something much more realistic.
Right.
Or I can leave and with my tail between my legs, and luckily a lot of people choose to. I mean, a lot of people don't, but and life gets in the way too for a lot of people. But because nobody's ego can take it. It's going to crush your ego.
It's going to crush.
It's going to crush you. It's how you respond. It's how you rebuild it.
Right.
And maybe that's all. I don't know what it is, but it's gonna crush it, because everybody does. Everybody, and even. I'm in a little bit of a slump right now. How it kind of comes in waves. Like I was like, I haven't I've been getting tapped a little more. Not to take anything away from anybody. I mean, that's just part of it. You kind of come and, all of a sudden, how it is. You'll be hitting the same thing on everybody, and then all of a sudden, everybody's beating the shit out of you. It just happens.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm in. I'm on like that, maybe hopefully on the upside of that.
It's always peaks and valleys.
Yeah,
and you'll break through.
Yeah.
If you stick with it.
You start trying to change things too. Like, you always do this, and you're really good at that. But you know what? I need to try like
Something else.
inverting and going after people's legs, because I can't escape by bridging really hard in certain positions because of my knee. So I've been inverting more. And that change in your style opens you up to some vulnerabilities that you know.
You always used to invert them. Man.
Have I? Well, I mean, maybe I've been doing it for a while.
You do that shit.
Well, I mean, I'm just giving you.
You're talking about.
I'm just
How many
giving
times
you
have you caught me in an arm bar when you go inverted?
well, my favorite technique is just arm bar from guard. I love catching people in arm bar from. Well, scissor sweep is probably my actual favorite.
Yeah, so you like the scissor.
Yeah,
you like the scissor.
I like that scissor sweep.
Yeah,
What's your favorite technique? Butterfly. Knee on belly.
You know, what I like to do is I like to just have like 3 or 4 things like right there in front of me, like maybe like a cross collar choke, a far side arm bar or Americana, pinning the arm. I like what I've really been working on and what I've really enjoyed lately is pinning different quadrants of the body and having full control.
Yeah.
So that
gi thing you showed us the other day, holding the pinning the shoulder down and the opposite hip,
pinning the shoulder down, opposite hip, and if their arm flails out too far from their body on the near side, pinning it with your leg, and in that way you've got both shoulders pinned down, you've got one of the hips pinned down, and at that point, I mean, you can choose your poison.
Yeah, you can kind of just look around.
Yeah, Be like, well, okay, now you can't go anywhere. So now what? And that's kind of what jiu-jitsu is about. It's about control.
Yeah,
it's about pressure and control. When you first start off, you think it's about being quick and doing fancy moves and submitting people, and it is about that. It is about that, but it's also about escapes. It's about being quick when you need to be quick, and relaxing when you
need to relax,
when you can relax.
Yeah, when you can.
Knowing when you can relax, knowing when you need to move, and conserving your energy.
I was going to say energy conservation is the difference between the levels of competency.
Sure,
especially. Transitioning in the kind of the beginning, the first year or two, especially,
right?
Because you start to see, and it's funny how we all get a feel for where people are kind of supposed to be. Have you ever rolled with somebody and at the end of the roll, they're like, "What should I have done different?" You're like,
"No,
I don't know, man. What are you, a 3-stripe blue? You did exactly what you're supposed to do, as far as I can tell.
Right?
That's how you feel like you're supposed to be where you're at. If you want to get better, try these things, but." You got it. You know what I mean?
And I did
keep coming.
And I did what I did to you because I'm where I'm at.
Right.
So me giving you advice on what to do is strictly based on the things that I just did to you.
Right.
So, and it's going to be different for everybody. Everybody's got a different game. So
yeah, I can always tell when, and I'll tell people too, like, how, like somebody that you normally kind of handle, all of a sudden, like, man, I've been rolling with so-and-so lately, and it's not as easy to
getting tough.
I gotta like step it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't have those moments as long where I can hold them in a position and go, all right, what do I want to do? Because now, as soon as I get him in a position, they're like, oh shit, well, I don't have his arm anymore. Okay, let me get it again. Oh shit, I lost it again.
Yeah.
Now he's got my arm. What the? You know what I mean? So I'm having to step up, and I'll tell him like, man, I may have got you or whatever, or I may have been on top or whatever the whole time, but. It's like, dude, you made me work for that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, 6 months ago or 3 months ago, that would have been easy on you.
Right.
Now you're making me work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 months ago, we were working on what you wanted to work on, and now I'm having to kind of give you that second dimension of what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
Because you've passed that first dimension of attacks that I can present to you.
I love it when people start pushing. I mean, that's because it means like, oh shit, it works.
That means I got to get better.
Well,
that's one of the reasons why when I taught the other night, I told people what I was noticing in the roll with their near side arm and it getting too far out from the body, and I was pinning a lot of people's arms.
Yeah.
On the near side, in side control, and so once I told people that when we went to roll, I wasn't able to pin anybody's arm that night. Everybody was conscious about keeping their arm in tight, and that's good because it's going to make me have to reassess.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do to level out the attack. So.
You see, me and Ben talk a lot about certain positions in jiu-jitsu and how they relate or don't relate to like a self-defense type situation where, a lot of people, my nose feel like it's running, but a lot of people will, they'll get just that kind of cross, cover, or they'll turtle or something like that. And I always think like, man, I don't ever want that to become part of my repertoire. I don't ever want to just lay there like this. You know what I mean?
No.
Because I'm in jiu-jitsu class right now. If I'm on the concrete somewhere, that's not what I want to fucking
they're
be
just
doing.
gonna ground and pound.
And I don't want to have any of that muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would rather just flop around than do this because I want to get this motherfucker off of me.
Right.
I don't want to lay there like that. Now, of course, I've rested before knowing I'm not going to get punched in the face or head bit, head bunted or something like that.
Right.
But I try to keep that stuff to a minimum. Just
Yeah.
that, this shit or turtling up and just being real tight. And you get, somebody can beat the shit out of you in turtle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Break all every rib you got in your body, like smash.
Just stand
your
up and
head.
start kicking you.
Yeah, stand up, start kicking you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
You can't tell anybody else is coming. All that.
Yeah,
stuff.
turtle is a defensive position that you use momentarily to transition to something else. You don't stay in turtle.
No. But it's we still fall in those. I do once in a while those traps where, I've been rolling. It may be the third, fourth, fifth roll. I'm with somebody good. They're passing. I like Granby and turtle or whatever. I roll up in turtle. And I'm like, God, I need to just, man, they are kicking my ass. I'm tired.
I'm just going to stay right here.
Okay. I'm trying to stay more than just a few seconds. It's tempting. When you can breathe for a couple, you really, really, really wanted to, you could breathe for a little bit. I try not to, but it still happens once in a while. You know what I mean? I've been thinking more and more like, how do I get out of here? I just got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want to be getting stabbed with a rusty fucking shiv.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On the sidewalk somewhere, in the French Quarter. Next time I go back to to New Orleans or whatever.
So what do you think? You think the countdown was on whenever Trump signed that bill, and they said that like, the National Defense Secretary or whatever, the National Intelligence Agency, whatever agency is over UFOs has to release all of their documents.
Oh yeah.
It's like, look, these people have been lying to you for decades.
Yeah.
You think they're going to release, because somebody signed some bill, they're going to just like release like a data dump for UFOs? And if they do, you don't think that there's some agenda behind that? That they're just
it's like we're being prepped for some alien
Project Bluebeam, dude.
Was that just about? Was there an ultimate goal to trick people or something with that, or was that just, I thought it was just collecting?
Just they're wanting to make this simulation that we're being invaded by aliens, so that they can lock down everything and create a one world government and all this other kind of stuff. So they just will put these hologram projections up into the sky and be like, aliens are coming, or like put a
fake an alien hoax,
or like some type of hologram of Jesus up in the sky, and be like, Jesus is coming, and like go, what was the second coming? And it's like, that doesn't even look like Tupac's hologram.
Or Michael Jackson had a hologram dancing on whatever. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Dude.
Well, I'm torn all the time, man. I live this crazy yin and yang about wisdom and the internet and knowledge and what's right and wrong. I always think a lot about like, is everything this crazy conspiracy, or is it we're all just so insane, and the reality is so insane that it's just crazy shit is gonna happen.
I think those knuckleheads at CERN need to stop smashing particles together. I think that's what's happening.
You think what's going on? Every time they smash one together, it's like it's fracturing reality.
It's like fraction reality.
Like every single time.
Could y'all shut that down a little while? Let's just kind of just see if we can get a baseline of normalcy.
See, I think it's the access to this just insane information, and then not knowing if some of it's being written by some sentient AI just fucking with us all.
It is. A lot of it is. A lot of it is.
They can fake 50 million pictures a minute and write 1,000 articles a second.
Computer generated narratives.
It's just going, spitting all these crazy shit out there, and we're just like, oh my God, did you see what happened? And none of it's real.
And none of it's going on. None of it's happening. You go outside, the birds are singing.
Yeah.
The grass is
Where are
green.
all these? I'm supposed to be tripping over COVID bodies. What is going on?
Oh God, don't get me started.
I know.
Crazy.
How long have we been going?
Oh no,
Let's see.
I don't even know, man.
Let's see. Hour 25.
All right, well, we can wrap it up.
All right, man. What time is it? It's almost 9:30.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it was fun. I'm glad we did
man.
it.
Me too.
I'm glad we did it. I don't even remember. It's kind of like it's kind of like jiu-jitsu some nights when we're done. Like I literally don't have any idea.
What we just talked about.
Yeah, I'm like, what did we talk? Did I say that? Said that? That was stupid.
Oh,
You ever go back
dude.
and you're like, what is wrong with
dude?
me?
I messed up. I messed up a few things on the last podcast. As far as like retroviruses and messenger RNA viruses.
Yeah.
Like
I knew that. I was gonna say something.
well, I was like HIV is like one of the only ones that occurs in nature.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I think there's 6 known retroviruses that they've discovered.
Okay.
HIV being one of them.
Okay.
I think HIV and hepatitis B are retroviruses.
Okay.
But I mean, when you're talking about millions or billions of different viral species or viruses or whatever,
right?
Types of viruses,
Right?
I mean, on the grand scheme of
That's
things,
very, very, very small percent.
very rare,
Very
rare,
rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, man. We'll forgive you on that. It is still very, very rare.
My bad.
One would be extremely rare, but 6 out of millions, it's still pretty rare.
I would just urge people to really take a look at, like, when they say proprietary ingredients, nanoparticles. Okay.
What is that?
What does that mean?
Is that on the ingredients list?
That's in the papers.
What in the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. I mean, it's proprietary.
Nanoparticles of what?
It's proprietary, so it's kind of like, the secret ingredient in Coke.
Yeah. Well,
you can't know that.
Yeah.
We have a patent.
Dude, nanoparticles. What the fuck is that? I mean, it's a whole nother show. Seemed like if they something like this, and they introduced nanoparticles in it, we should be able to go, wait a minute, what nanoparticles? What are they? What are they? What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does it mean?
You're gonna put this in my body. You're gonna tell me I can't fly on a plane, or maybe get a passport, or possibly one day even shop. Whatever the mark of the beast shit is, all that stuff.
Well, it's not even.
I don't know what's in this.
It's not even. There a lot of the to dispel the quote unquote conspiracy theory. They say, oh, well, people think that this vaccine is the mark of the beast, and I don't think this vaccine is the mark of the beast at all. I think this vaccine is just that. It's a vaccine that they developed very, very quickly and got special permission from government agencies to release it into the public. And what you may not know or realize until you actually sign up for the vaccine is that you are signing up for an experimental trial. And that has to be disclosed to you. And you will be followed by a government agency for the next 2 years for updates, because you're part of a group of people who have been given an experimental drug.
So they're making. I mean, you all the people they're doing probably detailed paperwork whenever you get a shot to somebody.
You're having to fill out and acknowledge that
you're taking an experimental drug.
You're taking an experimental drug.
So I don't know anything about that side of it, because I'm not getting one. So I don't know what they make you do, because I don't care. I'm not fucking getting one.
There's another thing you can do too. There's a site on the CDC. It's called VAERS. VAERS. I don't know how you say it, but it's VAERS.
Okay.
It's you can just Google VAERS. CDC.gov. And you can go on there and you can see all of the reported adverse reactions or adverse experiences from taking the vaccine that are either reported by providers or by individuals. And before you take the vaccine, I'd just urge you to go on the website and take a look to see the reports of adverse reactions and how many people have reported those adverse reactions. I think it's an individual decision.
Yeah.
I think it's a decision that you need to research for yourself, and you need to decide like,
Sure.
is this the best thing for me or not?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to dissuade you from taking it if you're intent upon taking it. I wouldn't want to tell you to take it if you're having reservations about it. I think it's something that everybody has to decide on their own. And I know that I've made the decision for myself and for my family that we're not taking it. That's a decision that I've made based off of the data that's available to me, and to the first of all, I'm a conscious objector to vaccines in the first place. They don't fit into my paradigm of thinking. There's an agenda behind them. There's a lot of money behind them.
Sure.
And so for me, as a as a person that exists in this world currently, I don't think that in its current state, it's a science that's necessarily quote unquote finished, or how do they say?
Settled.
Like,
they love to say it's settled.
It's not a settled science. No. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And there's so much information out there about how different vaccines they have deleterious effects on large populations of people.
Yeah, and when even if that fraction is very small, when the side effects are so much more severe, in my opinion, even if it's just a tiny percentage, than the actual disease, I know that could kill you. I get that, and it's I understand. I guess, but all these other factors,
like chicken pox, can chicken pox kill you?
It's never killed. I don't think. I mean, does it?
I mean, I had the chicken pox when I was younger.
Yeah, I did too.
But do you realize that if you get the vaccine for chicken pox, that what they're seeing now is that the varicella the varicella vaccine, or varicella virus, it causes shingles. Like if you get you get chicken pox when you're younger, the virus it gets like down into like your neural ganglia, and it stays dormant. And so later, and like much later in life, whenever you have some type of stressed event, like when you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s, if you have like some type of health event or something, like your immune system falters and is lowered, then it reactivates and reemerges as shingles. Well, people that get the children that get the chickenpox vaccine will develop shingles in their mid-teens.
I mean,
that's like, that's a pretty anomalous thing that just happened like after they started administering the vaccine.
Yeah.
And there are cases where entire groups of people that were vaccinated against measles. Had the measles.
I remember reading a lot about the measles. Yeah.
We talked about it in the last podcast.
Wasn't there a big push to do the measles shot in like California? There was this huge push to do something with measles. I don't remember.
And the vast majority of people who actually contracted the measles were vaccinated against the measles. Right. Against the measles.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot.
The science is settled. Phillip.
It's a lot. it's just a lot, and the current mindset is so there's so many people are just closed off to new information, or information that isn't provided to you by a government agency. Yeah. And we have to start to really question the ethics and the motivations and the intentions of these agencies. Are they really? Do you really believe these people are these agencies are formulated to look out for you? Like they care about you?
Yeah. My opinion on that is even if they are, I can assume all the intentions of everybody involved in the chain of command and the chain of production for a vaccine has a golden heart, and all they want is me to be better and a good, healthy, strong individual. I don't give a fuck, because mistakes happen. We're all human. And even if the vaccine is designed to do something horrible, or designed to do something good, it's going to interfere with a lot of people's systems. It's not going to be compatible with everybody. It's just not.
Well, they put adjuvants in them.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So, but even if everything was just, Phillip, I'm telling you, You don't understand. Everybody involved in it is we mean well for you, but
I'm sure they do.
the mistake could happen, and when the mistake side effects or the incompatibility with you or side effects are worse than just getting sick as a healthy person in his early 40s that has probably a strong immune system, and you take your chances. Take your fucking chances if you want to. That's it. If you don't want to get sick, stay home. I know that's mean, but this is life. We are alive. If you want to sit in a house and never stand more than 6 feet close to anybody ever again and wear a fucking diaper on your face, well, then that's fine. Don't tell me to do it. I'm not doing it. And I think there is this, I mean, I've seen more and more people. There's just an element of society that I'm glad it's just not going to do it. And there's way more people, unfortunately, that will, I guess. But more and more people are just saying, I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing it. Even if you mean well for me, I don't want to take the chance. I just don't want something weird in my body that I don't agree to. I'll put other weird shit in my body, but that's my choice. If I want to get drunk, do drugs, whatever, that's my choice. I don't want to put, some other fucking weird thing.
You don't want to inject proprietary nanoparticles into your bloodstream?
No.
Oh, come on, man.
No, not right now.
That's good. That's going to make you safe.
Oh, well, all right.
Safe and effective.
I'm fine. I'm safe.
So I'll just leave you with this.
Okay, leave me with this. Leave me. Drop it.
Okay.
Drop it on me, boy.
People build their own prisons and expect you to come live in them with them.
I think you said that a while ago.
I did. And I just want y'all to think about that. Think about that whenever you're out there and you put the mask on and then you're judging people that are not wearing the mask. Okay? And go beyond what you've been told on TV about how wearing the mask is virtuous and is protecting people. Because if you have a cloth mask on, you are not protecting anybody. And you're lying to yourself if you think you are. And all you're doing is you're virtue signaling and you're trying to be a quote unquote, and I know it probably comes from a good place where you're trying to be a good citizen. Okay. But why are we a year into this and the rates have gone through the roof with the vast majority of people wearing masks?
Yes.
I mean, can we not use a little bit of logic here?
A little bit of logic.
Outside of the clinical setting, I will say that in the clinical setting, wearing masks properly, when properly used, can reduce the transmission of infection. Okay, it's that is not that's without question. You can use it in the clinical setting.
Nobody
use it properly, it'll work.
Even marginally intelligent doesn't believe that.
Okay, but, however,
yeah, go ahead.
However, when you have Dirty Andrew with his dirty mask,
well, I gotta be Andrew, man.
Okay,
I'm just joking.
Dirty author.
All right.
The dirty author.
That sounds like a drink. You get a dirty author and somebody. The tequila version is dirty Andrew.
I want the dirty Andrew.
I want a dirty Andrew. That's tequila rather than vodka. I don't know. Fuck it. Anyway, go ahead.
Dirty Pete.
Dirty Pete.
Dirty Pete.
Dirty Pete.
All right.
Dirty Pete's
All right.
gin.
Yeah. I mean, people are not aseptic. Whenever they go into the non-clinical environment, you're not washing your hands every time you touch the mask. You're not removing the mask out of something that's aseptic, that's been sealed, that has absolutely no contagion on it at all.
And you're not doing this in every single room that you visit.
Exactly.
Proper PPE is,
and proper aseptic technique.
Yeah, I'm leaving this. I'm going into this patient's room. I'm going to put brand new shit on. I'm going to do it in an order.
That's right.
That minimizes germ transmission.
That's right.
Any kind of, droplet transmission. I'm going to go into their room. I'm going to do what I got to do. And when I leave, I'm taking all that shit off. And before I go into this new room, I'm going to put on the gloves and the mask in an order that reduces droplet transmission.
That's right.
I'm going to go in the room. I'm going to fuck with them. I'm going to go out. I'm going to throw my shit away.
Right.
That's not what people are doing.
Yeah.
People are wearing masks all fucking day.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
You're talking about people that are in a controlled environment, that are following empirical procedures that they follow because they're trained to follow them.
Yes.
They're trained to do this. They do this every single day. You that work at the beauty shop, or you that work in the plant, or you that's the stay-at-home mom, you don't know what you're doing. Okay? And so, and it's not your fault, okay? I get it. It's not your fault. But you're not doing anything productive. All you're doing right now is you are feeding the frenzy of hysteria. And people are feeding into this fear, and they're letting the fear drive them. And man, let it go, folks. Just let it go.
Just let it go. I think there's even a worse segment of society out there. I think there's fucking people that know everything we just said and know it to their core and still put a mask on because they want people to think they care. They don't give a fuck. They just want people to think that they care. It's just virtue signaling. It's just literally virtue signaling. You're just disgustingly virtue signaling that you don't want grandma to die. Take your fucking mask off. You know that it doesn't do it. Over time, it does nothing. It does nothing. Coronavirus cases are exploding. 90% of people out there wearing masks and have been for months now. It doesn't do anything. Stop. Quit handing me my fucking Taco Bell on a tray. Just hand it to me in my hand. Like, stop.
Through plexiglass.
Just stop it.
Look, if you get on a WebEx or a Zoom call, first of all, keep your camera turned off.
Yeah.
Okay, unless you're a presenter. Okay. However, if you have your camera turned on and you're sitting there in your office by yourself, big old face in the camera with your mask on, you're the equivalent of the person who drives around town by themselves with a mask on. Okay, you've just met your equivalents.
Dude, it's all asinine, and the idiocy of it is just, it's so hard to put into words. It's an energy. It literally, like we were saying earlier, it's almost like I see some people now and I'm just like, God, what are you doing? You're 162 pounds overweight. You know what I mean? It's just, you're a meme. You're a meme. You're scrolling around with this mask on. What are you doing? Oh, God, I don't know.
They're scared.
That's even worse than somebody's virtue signaling.
But the TV scares you.
Yeah.
The TV is not your friend.
No.
It is not there to advise you in a sensible, logical way. It is there to instill fear into your heart to control you. Period.
Yeah.
Television. Television. They are giving you visions of what they want you to think and believe. And you got to turn off the TV.
Just turn it off.
Turn off the TV.
Or watch it, but just know that there's an agenda. Just know.
Or
it's entertainment. Just you want to lay on your couch and fall asleep and watch fucking The Simpsons or something. Just that's fine. Just know what it is.
Know what it is.
Please just know what it is.
Know what it is. But even when you know what it is, it still can creep in.
It can
Subconsciously.
It can. I don't think there's any electronic media that doesn't have the power to do that. I mean, there could be somebody out there that could just get addicted to me and you talking, and they start thinking, Phillip and Barrett, man, they get me. They connect with me. I feel them. They're talking to me.
We need 1 million people to do that.
No, we need 10 million people.
Monetize this podcast.
You don't want it. Like, I understand why CNN does what they do on one hand because their bank accounts are fat. I get it. You know what I mean? But don't. But they've given up their soul.
But the minute somebody tries to come in here and be like, okay, now Barrett,
well,
now,
yeah.
Look, you can't drop so many F-bombs now.
Yeah,
We're a family show.
Yeah.
No.
No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Yeah. I just want to ramble, and if people like it, cool.
Yeah, I'm cool. And I want to sit here and listen to you ramble.
Yeah, cool. Me too. My ass is asleep. But speaking of, like, it literally, all of a sudden, I was like, my ass kind of hurts. It's like a sleep feeling. I got to start waking it up. All right, man. We've been going by what, 144? 144.
Okay, well, we're gonna wake up Barrett's ass.
Yeah, I gotta wake my ass up. I'm gonna save some stuff and all that stuff. It was fun though, dude. I'm glad we did this.
Man.
I'm glad we did this.
Man.
Love you, dude.
Love y'all.
Purple Shed Podcast number 4?
Number 4.
For 2021.
2021, baby.
Later.
Peace.